If you want to succeed, you need to believe that you can. And there are various ways of building your self-belief, but there are namely 3 parts that I use. This one is to look into the past, look at all the past achievements you have already done, to see that you have the ability, to see that you can already do things that once you believed you couldn't do, to see that you have already achieved so much in your life that this will help propel you forward, because you know if you can do A, then you should be able to do B. Or even if you were unsure on how to do A previously, you learned how to do it and then you were able to achieve what you wanted to achieve, what you set out to do. And it goes on so forth. Looking at the present and seeing things that you are grateful for. This is a key one because it's not so obvious, but it builds a perspective of abundance. The more things you look to be grateful for, the more things that you see that you have. Sometimes it's very easy to see the things that we don't have, the things that we want based on what we see from other people, what we see online, what we see on social media. But first we need to take stock of what we've already got, be grateful for that so we can build on top of that and be grateful for when we get the things that we want, rather than always wanting more. That's where the greed mindset can come in. Then we look into the future. We do this with words of affirmation. Words of affirmation like, I am successful, or whatever cheesy ones you want to say, or something that's more significant to you. And we use these to align our subconscious with our future self, who we are now and our future self, and bringing them together to be one. Building your self-belief, however, is not enough. I watched a very interesting video the other day from, let me make myself bigger, apologies, from Charlie Morgan. And if you haven't already seen him or heard of him, I suggest you go check him out. He's actually really interesting to listen to. And some of the things he says is really, really helpful. So I'm going to basically explain what I learned the other day and some realizations that I had as well, because they were pretty big realizations, and they're things that I've been ignoring for a while. As I just said about building your self-belief, that's all I had done was build my self-belief. Now he spoke about, among various other things I'd done as well, but building self-belief rather than taking care of other things as well. He spoke about things being in peaks and troughs. Now I have certainly experienced this, where starting down here, I was in a level of pain for whatever reason. I was stuck on my arse and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't happy with where I was. I realized I had a load of potential, but I wasn't doing anything with it, and I was just wasting my time. I was depressed, I was anxious, and I was all the way down here. But this pain propelled me upwards. It gave me the motivation to get out of the place that I was in. I didn't want to be there, so I wanted to work as hard as I could to get out of that. And I did, and I worked really hard, and I went all the way up. And I reached a level where I felt like I was achieving a lot. I was working hard, I was putting in the effort, and I was getting results. These results weren't 100% where I wanted to be, but the results started to come in. And because things were changing for me, I accepted that. And I reached a level of comfortability. And because I became comfortable, I was then slacking off, because it was easy for me to be like, oh, well, you know, I've done this today, I've done that, I've worked hard, therefore I'll have the rest of the afternoon off. Or easy to come up with excuses as to why I shouldn't do things. And so this then pulled me back down to near the bottom or parts of the bottom. And basically, you know, life then goes like that, where you go through the pain points, you get comfortable, so on and so forth. And what Charlie said was, and this was really interesting as well, is you will have your peak of something, and this might not be motivation. It could be things like your health, your relationships, financial, business. This could represent a lot of things. And this could be a quantity. So for example, if it's financial, this could be a certain value, and your trough will be a certain value. And this can be anything from a positive number to a negative number, 0, whatever it may be. And then you have your equilibrium. So let's say that's around there. So you will always move around this point. Now, what I've been doing is building up my peaks. So let's say this represents my self-belief. I have been building up my peaks. So they've been getting higher and higher and higher. Doesn't that look lovely? However, the thing that I have not been doing is paying attention to the troughs. What's down here? So the higher up I've gone, the further back down I have to fall. Now, because of this equilibrium, it always pulls you back. Now, equilibrium means equal, so it's equal both sides. However, this roughly stays the same if you build one or the other. This value will roughly stay the same. It just becomes a average point to get to. But I have been building my peaks and not taking care of the troughs, which means when I have fallen, the higher up I've built myself, the further down I have fallen. A good example of this is very recently I stopped going to the gym. I found it very difficult to find a good time to go. I find the best time for me to go to the gym is in the morning because it's before I've been sat down for a long time, and I just do not have the discipline or motivation when I've been sat down all day at my desk to get up and go out and go to the gym. I just don't. I don't have the discipline for it. And so I was missing a lot of the days. If I go in the morning before I've sat down for a long time, I have a much higher success rate of going. And this week I have gone every day apart from Monday, because that's I go out on a Monday to the office, and today I'm doing housework. So I've been 3 days in a row, and that's because I decided to go in the morning. Now, when I wasn't going in the morning, I wanted to prioritize my work because the morning is also the best time that I do my work. And if I don't get up early before 7 o'clock, around 5:30, 5, not really 6, that's not enough time. If I am able to do a good bunch of work then I don't feel so guilty about going to the gym, because I go to the gym at 20 to 9 and I get home around 11. And that's a big chunk of the morning gone. And because I saw it like that, I saw that I was missing out on that work. So I decided to prioritize work over going to the gym. And last week or the week before, I weighed myself, and I have these scales that will measure all your, your muscle mass, your bone mass, and all of that stuff. I looked at the scales and I thought, that can't be right. That's just far too heavy. There's just absolutely no way. I looked at my phone and it said, "Are you sure this is you? Because this is very different." I thought, nah, maybe because sometimes when it's on uneven floor, the measurements go a bit off. So I thought, I'll do it again. And I did. And the results were exactly the same. And I thought, oh, I was the heaviest that I've ever been. And it was getting noticeable. I had noticed my tummy getting a lot bigger. And I just thought that this is the heaviest I've ever been in my life, because I'm still eating the amount, but I'm nowhere near as active. And it was kind of a wake-up call of like, right, I need to prioritize my health. Otherwise, this is going to continue. And the next time I check my weight, I'll be 20 kilograms heavier than I am right now. But that showed that my trough was, all the way down here. And my peak is when I'm going to the gym often. I'm getting stronger and I'm looking strong, and I'm getting happy with how I look. So using the pain of, I now weigh more than I ever have done, and I can visibly see that as well. And some of my clothes aren't fitting at the moment. That's pushing me up. But I don't want to get to here and then come back down here. So in order to avoid being here, I need to raise these troughs. Now, how do you do that? You need to identify what's causing these troughs, essentially. Okay, sorry, price action is just doing things. And for me, these are things that I have been ignoring for a long time. And something that I want to address is looking at my why. Why am I doing things? And I've struggled with identifying what my actual why is. And now I think I know why. People's why usually evolves around supporting their family, doing better for themselves, or there's someone significant that they want to they show them their love by working hard so they can support them and be there for them and give them a life worth living. And I really struggled to work out why I wanted to do the things that I was doing. It was very holy. And then I realized that a lot of my why, in terms of wanting to achieve a lot, wanting to do the best I can, was to stick it to other people. The people in my life that say I can't do it, the people that don't believe in me so much that they actually bring me down. And also going back to school days when I was picked on and bullied, I wanted to stick it to all of them to say, screw you, I'm better than you. And this is something that I've never addressed because I've known in the back of my mind, and I've said it a few times as well, that sometimes the reason for me wanting to do so much is spite. Yeah, just to stick it to other people, basically. And this is not a very good or solid why. And it's not a good why because it's not in a place of it's it comes from a place of feeling like I'm not good enough. And this is where it goes back to the self-belief, where I'm building up my self-belief in saying that I can do this, I know I'm able to achieve these things, but then it all comes all the way back down to the people that said I can't. And because they say I can't, because I feel I've got to prove it, it must mean that somewhere in my psyche, it means that I don't feel I am able to either, because I'm listening to those voices. I'm doing it to prove it to them, rather than because I know I can. And so it pulls me all the way back down here. So this is one thing that I actually need to address and work through and move on from. So my reason of why is no longer to stick it to other people for whatever reason I want to stick it to them too. That's one element of it. There are also some other elements of my life that I struggled with or suffered through, whatever you want to call it, when I was younger. Basically, I have a lot of trauma, and there's things that I need to work through and haven't done so yet. And a lot of these troughs for me come from those areas. And it's been very odd because I've never been in a place of comfortability until recent years, because all I've been through is pain and suffering. And so I was always working hard and doing things to keep my mind off it, to make me better, to get me out of that place, until I came over the depression, anxiety, and the things that I'd been through weren't so bothersome anymore. And I got into this place of comfortability. And I saw that as, being a place of happiness, not realizing what I was actually heading in for. And then came all the way back down, back into depression and anxiety, because I let myself slip so far. So my high was like, it felt like I was on crack all day, because, I was so happy because I had been in so much pain that a general point of happiness felt like I was in ecstasy. And then being there, going back into depression, this was quite a way. And then being in depression propelled me back up again. But recently I've been at this midpoint where I haven't been depressed, but I've been unhappy with where I am, because I see myself stacking off, gaining weight, not doing the work that I needed to do, not achieving the things that I set out to achieve, but being comfortable enough that, I'm not pushing myself upwards, right? So I need to address, and if you haven't done so, you will need to address this too, because this is inescapable. I can't remember how Charlie Morgan worded it, but he basically said, these exist. There's a version of you that exists that has these limiting beliefs, you can call them. And there's the version of you that wants to achieve much and do these things. But they both exist. And your behavior and your feelings and emotion will exist somewhere between the two, either at one or the other, or between the two. You cannot exist, and this is like on a plane, right? So there's you, and you exist on this plane. And you cannot exist outside of this plane, where your behaviors will contradict one or the other, or the plane in between. Like, say there's you here. Oh, that's a line, that's not going to help. One version of you here, one version of you here, plane, right? You cannot exist here or here, or anywhere that isn't along this plane or at one of these points. And this is, I don't know how to explain this answer as to why that is. I guess I can use an analogy, but I don't know how to explain the psychology of it all because I don't have a deeper grasp of it myself. But to use an analogy, say this is a different state between water and ice, water here, ice here. It will always be water, and it will always exist between these two states. Okay, got steam, but we're ignoring that part for now. Water, ice will exist, and it will always be water, and always exert properties of either ice or water, and it will exist on this plane. It won't suddenly become a different element. It won't exhibit different properties. It will be one or the other. It's as simple as it is, basically. And the same for us. And, you know, we're either water or ice, or in between, exhibiting these properties, nothing more, nothing less. So if your full fluidity is when you are in water and you're able to adapt, you're able to mold, you're able to go wherever you want and go with the flow, set your own flow, whatever, compared to being stuck as ice, stuck in one form. You know, you need your ice to be less ice-like and more water-like. I hope that makes some sort of sense. But yeah, that's what I need to work on. And for what I am doing with my self-improvement, I have always been focused on the positives, the things to build the positive aspects, the things to set in motion, so I'm always building on the good. But because I haven't taken care of the bad is still very much there, and it means the higher up I move, the lower I go if I fall back. And that was just an eye-opener for me, and it shows that there are just things that I haven't dealt with, and I really need to deal with them. Otherwise, they'll keep holding me back. Because ice exists. This ice exists, and I can't deny that. I can only move on past it. I can only melt it and change it so it's less ice-like, for lack of a better term. But that's kind of like what I wanted to address here, and I think that's why I've been struggling to find my why. And at one point, I thought, oh, maybe I just don't have one, and I'm just doing me, and I am me, whatever. But no, I think it's because part of my why is stuck in the past self-beliefs of why I need to do the things that I want to do. And part of that is to stick it to other people because there is a lack of belief in myself in that form. So, yeah, and that's the thing about when you venture onto things like this, when you venture onto entrepreneurship, business, forex, trading, crypto, Amazon, drop, whatever it is, real estate, if you're trying to do something that isn't normal, your inner demons, inner struggles, inner past, your trauma, whatever, will come through, and it will shine, for lack of a better term. It won't shine, it'll hinder you, whatever. And that's just because your business is an extension of yourself. I love that term. I think I heard that from Charlie as well. Your business is an extension of yourself, how you are within yourself. And that's really important to note because it means that if you don't take care of the things that you know that you should, or the things that are currently cropping up that you don't think are much of a problem, they will be. And they will be in a sense that even if they're a minor thing, and that's still, they will creep in and form that little seed of doubt, form that little seed of, I guess, just pulling you back, that, again, it will be like a slingshot effect. So they'll be there, and you'll be moving away till it gets to a point where you feel comfortable, and you'll come back down. And it'll get to that point, and it'll slingshot you up enough. And there's a whole science of that, of like planetary motion. It's really cool and really fun. And it's how planets, asteroids, and all sorts orbit their stars. Sometimes it's elliptical and sometimes it's just round, and they're always around this midpoint. But sometimes they literally go all the way out, all the way back in, and slingshot and get propelled forward. Reach that point and slowly come back, get pulled back quite fast, right? Because I'm moving away from this point, the gravity is pulling them back, so they're slowing down. So till they reach that point, and the gravity starts pulling back. So when they get here, it's quite slow, but when they get closer and closer, they get back quite fast. And that's why, you know, things can change quite rapidly as well. You know, one day things might be going great, and they might have been going great for a while, and then within a week it all comes tumbling down, and Monday you're feeling okay, and Friday you're feeling like the world's about to end, because, you know, Monday's here, Friday's here, right? And that's how it happens, basically. So I made this video because I need to address some things for me personally, and if you need to address some things, or you haven't been addressing some things, I suggest that you start. And I don't have an answer as to how. There are ways to do it in terms of you can do it by yourself. Look at the problems you need to address, but you need to do this properly. This isn't just a sit back and, oh yeah, this happened to me once. Okay, I've acknowledged it, I can move on. It's not that simple. So if you want to do it by yourself, you need to learn how to do so. You can talk through it with friends, with family, with a therapist. All of those things are the best option, but if you're not able to do that, then one will work, but doing the best. I would love to talk to a therapist, but trying to get a good therapist costs money, and I just don't have that right now. But a therapist is definitely something that I want to seek out in the future, because the shit that I just need to work through is just a lot, and it will take a much shorter amount of time if I do it professionally rather than all by myself. But I will make a start by myself. I have got some Carl Jung books and general psychology books. And if you've never heard of shadow work, I suggest go checking that out, because that's a similar thing where you take the personal responsibilities for the troughs and identify who that is, or the ice as we use in our analogy, and integrate it. So melting the ice so it becomes one. So instead of it being one state, another state, and a line, or state base in between, it becomes more of a fluid block, where you're always at one state where you're both ice and water in one go. So it becomes one being rather than flowing in between the two. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say about that. For anyone who's interested, we'll just do a bit of forex chart work, because there's something that could be happening. Oh, look at this. So for the past few days, we have been in this downward trend. If we zoom out, however, because it's been so horribly corrective on the hourly, I haven't had any chance to get into it, because it's been moving down, retracing all the way back up, ranging, breaking down, ranging, breaking down, pulling back up, ranging, breaking down, so on and so forth, having another range here. However, recently we have had this move down, strong push up, had a momentum, failed to continue, deeper pullback. Deep pullback usually means that it's going to struggle to continue in the upward motion. Upward motion, not motion. What's motion? No idea. But it might struggle to continue up because we've had a deeper pullback. And on this pair, deep pullbacks is usually a no-no, so I wouldn't be looking for any buys here. However, we move back up. We don't quite break the high here, but we kind of reach near it, retrace, and then we move up, and then we do break the high. However, we break it with a wick, meaning that we broke, but we struggle to close above. So again, there is lack of momentum. That's why I'm trying to say momentum, not motion. Sorry, my nose is not happy today. There's lack of momentum. That's the word I'm trying to use, not my motion. Hilarious. Yeah, so we wick above, retrace, but we're still continuing up. And I don't know if we broke this high yet. 175, 173. So we're 2 ticks away, or 0.2 pips away from breaking this high. So I'm looking for price to break above and then retrace. Looking at this as both a ascending channel and a turtle soup as added confirmation, basically. So ascending channel is when we're moving up like this, blah blah blah, and then we retrace and break the low, then continue. And this is saying, price is trying to move up, failing, trying to move up, failing, trying to move up, and then it fails and moves down. Because that's what this pair is good at doing, with channels doing that. So we're looking at that as added confirmation to a turtle soup trade as well, where we break this high of the Asian range and then we retrace into it and move all the way down here. I will do this in 2 parts, where if we get this ascending channel, and turtle soup, I will look to take it as a turtle soup trade, but instead of targeting this low here, I will then trade it as a ascending channel where I will just follow the trend down, whether it reaches all the way down here, continues down, or whatever. But I will be trailing my stop loss with the trend rather than setting a profit target of here. That's what I'm looking at the moment. If the turtle soup trade doesn't set up where in the 15-minute I'm looking for price to, we've got a nice corrective move here, which is quite nice, but I'm looking for price to break above, move down and close solid with like below this line. And that'll be my entry point. If, however, that doesn't shape up and we look weak going back into there, I will go back onto the hourly and look for a ascending channel entry trade instead, whether there's a nice entry based on that price action rather than on the turtle soup. And if that doesn't shape up, then there will be no trade, even if it does move down in the desired direction and in the way I think it might. If there's no entry, I will not be taking it, because it's bad habit to be taking trades because you want to and not because there is an entry that fits your plan, as I have painfully found out many times. So that's all from me. If you've got shit to go and sort out, I would suggest that you go and sort it out. If you think that you haven't got shit to sort out, you might get a scary awakening, especially if you're someone who's on a journey of being different. Then you've probably got some things to sort out, because you're probably a bit weird for wanting to be different, and that is perfectly okay. We're all a bit weird. It takes the weird ones to make motions. I don't think I've got anything else to say. I hope you all have a terrific day. Yeah, I guess that is one more thing. Because I'm not fundamentally in tune with my why, I do not know what my why is. It also means that doing this is very sporadic. I did start a part where I was, reviewing the trades that I take and reviewing the week, and that very quickly stopped. I did that for about a week or two, and then it became very holy, did it again, and then it stopped again. And that again is because I lack basic understanding in terms of why I want to do this. And because I'm trying to, and because part of me is doing it to stick it to other people, it's disingenuous. Is that the word? What does disingenuous mean? Disingenuous. Not candid or sincere. Yeah, disingenuous. There's a disingenuous reason as to why I'm doing it, so it's easy for me to slack off, because my meaning is very shallow, right? So, and I'm not putting you guys first, I'm putting the people that I'm trying to stick it to first in some respects, or when I'm in that ice form. Then yeah, that's when it's becoming like that. So actually, yeah, I could use all states. So steam is when you're in your peak, water is when you're at equilibrium, and ice is when you're at your trough. Anyway, yeah, because when you're steam, you've got your most end. Anyway, yes. So I do apologize that I'm putting people that don't believe in me over you guys, and that is definitely something that I need to address. But yeah, that's why I need to address it, right? Because although I see that and I acknowledge that, and I don't want that to be the case, it is the case, and I can't ignore that. I can't just wish it not to be so and then it not be so. I need to address that and get over it, so then it definitely becomes not so, and I put you guys first and find my reason within you guys to help you, so you're not like me as I am now. You're more like me as I can be, and as you can be in your full potential, and help you do that. And this is why I want to make this video, because if I feel this can help me and is going to help me become better, then it should help you become better also. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'm sorry this was such a long video, but I have a habit of rambling and I'm not going to edit it, so you get the full raw experience. I will see you all in the next video. Have a good weekend. I will see you all soon. Bye.